So here is Crystal Pite, great choreographer, and she has a company of dance, of course, and is a genius of this art of contemporary dance. I learned from her because in this conference she's giving, it's talking about conflict in art and how the conflict may bring art out, about the tension that it generates to have conflict, either to play a difficult piece or how we can interpret these things in terms of music, and how this is related to what Paco did achieve to unite conflicting styles and elements from apparently conflicting styles like jazz and flamenco, etc., and put them together. So this is one of the greatest contributions of Paco de Lucia to the flamenco music and to the musical scene in fact, altogether. So here are some videos relevant that you may enjoy to illustrate this point. These are here.
I'm talking about the conflict that comes up when you have contrasting ideas set against each other inside the subject of a work. So, for example, certainty and doubt, or conflicting physical tasks within the body that create states of torque or exertion. I find it really compelling to see a performer just dancing right on the very edge of their ability. It's compelling to see that, and I think that there's conflict inherent in the effort of trying to achieve something that is really difficult. It's either physically tricky or complicated or really fast or really tiring.
Paco is one subject, the individual creative musician, because you can't contain Paco inside flamenco music. You can't put Paco in flamenco music. Paco's too big for that.
Right. So now what he's saying, for example, the conflict that the guitar as an instrument, the nylon string guitars are different from the electric guitars, and here Paco is saying about this conflict, on that difference between the nylon string and the electric guitar, because the electric guitar you can hold the notes for much longer, and this gives you time, this gives you more time to think about what you are going to play after, right? That's what he would say. And therefore the very instrument, the very Spanish flamenco guitar itself as an instrument offers you a conflict that you have to solve. And the tension on that conflict there, when it's solved, that, as Crystal Pite says, going to the very edge of your capacity physically or to play a very difficult passage, etc. And because of this characteristic that the nylon string guitar has of the sound just going away in a snap. You play one note and in the snap is gone. While in electric guitar you can hold a note for much time and then therefore have more time to think about how to play it. Let's listen what he's saying here.
Hay mucho que hacer todavía con la guitarra acústica. Hay mucho que hacer. Ahora tocar la guitarra eléctrica es muy interesante porque con la guitarra acústica tú suenas la nota y seguidas te apagas. Con la guitarra eléctrica tú suenas una nota y puedes estar 10 minutos con una nota sola. Eso quiere decir que te da mucha más tranquilidad para poder tocar. O sea, mientras suena esa nota te da tiempo a pensar qué haces detrás. Con la guitarra no, la guitarra acústica tocas una y enseguida tienes que dar otra porque se te acaba el sonido. Mucho más difícil tocar la guitarra acústica que la guitarra electrificada. Mucho mucho más, tiene muchas más posibilidades con una guitarra en la que puedes alargar las notas, por ejemplo.
What Crystal Pike is saying there, that conflict is vital and it's like a sign of life, in fact, because in all our lives there is conflict somehow or other. Now, how you solve that conflict, that's what matters. And Paco solved the conflict between two different styles, namely jazz music or metal string guitar and flamenco guitar, incredibly well. In fact, he reinvented flamenco through his contribution with harmonies and different ways to approach introducing other instruments like electric bass or flute, which were not there. Those were, to put a flute or an electric bass with flanger chorus effect, as Carlos Benavent used, it was a conflicting thing on the flamenco world before, of course, right? But that conflict there brought art, because this conflict in between two contradictory elements in the process of creating art are there. That's what she's saying, the great choreographer. And that's what also Paco said, that the very instrument, the guitar itself, the nylon string guitar, it presents you a challenge because the sound, it stays for a very small time. Means in electric guitar, he's saying you can play one note and then hold it there forever, and then you have time to think about what you are going to play after that. But in the what he said, acoustic guitar, he meant nylon string guitar, because in America, acoustic guitar means metal string guitar. But what he said, la guitarra acústica, the nylon string guitar, it's very challenging because when you compose for this instrument, you have to have in mind that the notes doesn't last long time. Therefore, just you play it, and all of a sudden, in one snap, it disappears the sound. So you have to play another note, and therefore, it's a different instrument than electric guitar in that sense. And this is a conflict. This is an example of a conflict that the guitar itself, as an instrument, our flamenco guitar, the nylon string guitar, presents to the composer this thing that the sound lasts a little bit. Now, let's see how to deal with that. So, conflict is about all that. When the mind tells you not to practice, right, or not to take lessons, not to improve anything, remain stuck where you are, do it yourself and be confused forever, etc. That's also conflict, because actually, conflict, when we deal wrong with the conflict, then it brings us down. It pushes you to a downward spiral, to descending spiral. You go down, the level goes down, even the enthusiasm or joy for life may go down. So how you deal with that is extremely important. Therefore, this conflict thing is a very interesting subject. I recommend you strongly that video about the contemporary dance company. And also to you yourself, you have to digest this thing and think about it, because it was about conflict between respecting traditional standard ways and avoiding just being obsolete, right, and evolving with innovation. That's what Paco is about, is reinventing flamenco. And he reinvented through contradicting elements, through conflict. Because don't you think that it was a conflict when he introduced electric bass to flamenco? People say, what are you doing, man? This thing is not, what are you playing this electric bass here? Of course they complained, but he didn't care, because it was for the sake of innovating and to enrich this music, right? So it's very interesting topic. You listen what he's saying there, and if you can catch the hidden messages, because music is about discovering who are you, really. As this child is asking, who are you? And Paco says, well, who knows? I have all my life trying to find out who I am. But I don't know it, because through music I try to search out for my soul inside, for my identity as a spirit soul, right? He's saying very deep thing there, but you have to catch the hidden message and read between lines and listen what he's saying and try to find out what's the message for you there. All this what I'm saying is for you, because to make an homage about Paco and just say like he was a great player, that we already know, but what is in there for you, that's what I'm saying. Because at any level, from beginners one, from the scratch, you can approach the guitar that way and learn and learn to discover also your personality and your own music through his contributions. It's not we are copying Paco, we're based on Paco de Lucía only because this is the best technique and the best musician of last century and best player of flamenco music. He reinvented the whole style altogether. That's why we are taking that as an example, but we don't want to copy him or anything. We just want to learn through him and walking through those steps. Once we master the rhythm, the techniques and everything, then we can discover who we are. And that's what he's saying there. Since I was 12 years old, I am searching for who I am.